Hey guys, Todd Anderson here doing a Magic Online Cube draft, and this is the Holiday Cube featuring the Power 9 and a bunch of really busted, ridiculous stuff. So hopefully we're going to have a little fun today. Well, to start off in the pack, we have Jace the Mind Sculptor. Seems like the best card in the pack, not really close. No big power cards, no Moxes, Black Lotus, Sol Ring, no fast mana stuff. Hope to pick some of that stuff up though, because accelerating to a Jace is pretty sweet. I don't really know what to expect to wheel out of this pack. Planeswalkers are usually pretty good in the cube, but since this is Power Cube, I'm just going to look to do some degenerate stuff. So let's have some fun with Jace. Alright, my favorite archetype to draft, and the one that I draft most often, is Green-Blue Ramp. For this kind of strategy, I usually just take every mana accelerator that I see and hope that, I don't flood too badly. Usually I have a bunch of card draw spells and things like that. But Jace can keep us in blue-green ramp, or it can push us more towards like a control deck. But no matter what deck you're playing, Jace is insane. But here, looking at Fyndhorn Elves and Tanglewire, Tanglewire's particularly good at stifling your opponent's development in cube, but I don't think it's as good when people have access to a ton of fast mana. It's possible that I'm being a little counterintuitive when I say that, but I think we're just going to take Mr. Fyndhorn Elves, since he's basically just Llanowulf and fits the theme of mana acceleration all the time. Alright, Bribery's pretty great in this cube. People are trying to do really busted stuff. Upheaval is also very good. If we get access to a bunch of fast mana things, we can usually float, upwards of 8 to 10 mana, cast Upheaval, and then recast a bunch of mana artifacts and have a big advantage on our opponent. I also like Garrett Caller of Beast, though unfortunately he can't cheat anything except green creatures into play, so if we get big artifact creatures like Mere Battlesphere or something like that, it's not as good. Plochronos is also pretty decent, but the monstrous ability killing creatures is not as good in this cube, since it is about being degenerate. I think Bribery is probably going to be the card I'm going to take, since it does lead to a lot of free wins, just taking your opponent's Eldrazi or just gigantic monster. People try to do big stupid stuff, so I like taking that. Old Draga Tree Speaker is fantastic in this archetype. I would like to take Yavimaya Coast for mana fixing. Factor Fiction is also fine. Inkwell Leviathan is also pretty good if we randomly get a Tinker, but since there's only one Tinker, it's not exactly easy to get, and people usually take it pretty highly because of how powerful it is. So I think I'm going to take Draga Tree Speaker. I think my win percentage with Tree Speaker in my deck is significantly higher than any other card that I've ever drafted in this format. Well, Blue-Green Signet looks pretty good. Palinchron is okay. If we get some things like Heartbeat of Spring that can double our mana, we can make infinite mana with Palinchron. You can also do cool stuff with Palinchron and like Sneak Attack, where you can make infinite mana that way. But I think we are just going to take this Signet, a Mana Rock, and continue on the path. Verdant Catacombs could be good if we end up getting a blue-green dual land, like a Breeding Pool or Tropical Island, but I think we'll just take this. Alright, well, not a ton in this pack for us. We could take something like Hallowed Fountain in case we get a blue or a white fetch land, and we can maybe splash white as our other color. We don't need to do that. We could also take Kitchen Finks. I don't really like main decking this card in this style of deck. It is pretty good with stuff like Natural Order, but normally when you cast Natural Order, you just want to sacrifice a mana guy and then go get, a Progenitus or something, but I'm all about taking color fixing, so I'll take a Hallowed Fountain. Pithy Needle is also fine. Could hate draft Hypnotic Spectre, because it's usually really good. Alright, well, looks like black is pretty open with a Dismember and a Bloodline Keeper still in the pack, but Guy's Cradle is just phenomenal in our style of deck, as is Edric. Edric is particularly powerful when your deck is full of little mana dorks, but I don't suspect I want to do too much attacking, and the mana acceleration from Gaia's Cradle is exactly what I want for this style of deck, so I think I'm going to take that. Tundra also might have been an okay choice since we already have the Hallowed Fountain and make it a little easier to splash something, but take the Gaia's Cradle for power level. Shardless Agent, basically this is just a 3 mana 2/2 that will likely hit a mana accelerator, which is not bad, so I'll probably take this. Thought of Adele is not bad either. You know, most of these artifact-based decks are blue, and so their Island Walk will come into play. And people like to play mana artifacts, so stealing those is pretty good. So, but I think Shardless Agent might be worse than Mystical Tutor, but it will effectively be a ramp spell for our deck, so I'm going to take it. And search for Tomorrow. Now we have a lot of mana so far, and not a lot to do with it. I think we're going to take the Temple Garden over the Beast Within, again with the Hallowed Fountain. If we get a fetch land that gets any white fetch land would be fine for these two, you know, or a green or blue fetch land would be nice, a banned one. This pack's pretty bad. We can take Manriki Gusari in case we end up playing against the one person who gets a Stoneforge Mystic or just has a bunch of really good equipment. Yes, here we can hate draft the mono red guy, since that type of deck might be a problem for us. Take Firebolt since it's great against all our mana dorks. And Windburst Heist is actually pretty insane in cube, so we're gonna take that, and we might be splashing white for Windburst Heist, which would be pretty funny. Let's scoot this over so we can see our sideboard a little better. Alright, so pack 2, we have not a lot of great options actually. Looking at it, you know, I doubt we'll be able to get enough artifacts to make Metalworker particularly insane. Bazaar of Baghdad seems good, but we don't really have a reanimation theme or anything like that going on, so makes that less appealing. Sylvan Library could be pretty good against other combo-based decks. It's just a way for us to draw like 4 extra cards for free. Frost Titan's not bad, gives us something to do with all of our mana ramp. Impulse can help us find our more powerful spells, but is not great since we're going to have such a dense, high density of mana. Sylvan Library, Deranged Hermit, Frost Titan. I think I'm just going to go with Sylvan Library. Just cheap card advantage seems pretty good, and hopefully we'll get a fetch land or two and make good use of it. Survival of the Fittest is pretty awesome. Sol Ring, I think, is just the most powerful, though, so I think I'm just going to take this. Being able to just... I mean, it's really hard to stress how insane Sol Ring is. Honestly, I think Sol Ring is probably top 3 cards ever printed, period, in Magic. As long as your cube deck can actually do something with the mana, which we don't have a ton to do with it right now, but we're looking to fix that hopefully soon. Null Rod could be an issue if we get a high density of mana rocks, but let's take Sol Ring. Don't know why anybody ever passes it. Maybe there was a Black Lotus in the pack, but personally I think Sol Ring is better than Black Lotus. And Mox Pearl, another easy way to help us splash for white if we end up wanting to play white. An Emrakul, which could be pretty sweet if we get a Show and Tell, a Green Sun Zenith, but no big green creatures yet. We have a bunch of mana acceleration already, and I think Mox Pearl is better than Lotus Cobra. So I know that actually sounds really funny to say out loud, but Vidalcan Shackles is pretty sweet. Tolarian Academy also pretty good, but again, I don't think we're going to get enough artifacts really to make it fantastic. So Tolarian Academy might wheel. It's perhaps a bit ambitious, but I think I'm just going to take Mox Pearl since it's a Power 9 card. Might as well. Don't get to play with those too often. Ooh, another Jace. That's pretty good. Oracle Moldiah is sweet. Couple off-color mana rocks. Green-white one, again, might be pretty good for us. This Damnation looks weird. The border is all funky looking. Treetop Village, Trigon Predator, both decent. Oracle Modiah is insane. Might want that over the Jace Architect, though. It's actually a reasonably tough pick. We do have a couple ways to shuffle, so Oracle might be really good in our deck. And there's not a high density of people playing removal spells, since people are just trying to be degenerate and do really explosive things. And since we already have a Soul Ring and a Mox Pearl and a Signet, I think playing an Oracle on turn 2 or 3 is actually pretty easy, and I think it's probably better than Jace Architect in this format. Alright, well, not a ton of good stuff for us. I don't foresee Frantic Search being the type of card that my deck wants, since I'm not playing Reanimator, and very unlikely to play a Storm deck. Frantic Search and Empty the Warrens in the same pack is actually pretty good for me. I think ramping into Prowl Command is pretty sweet if we end up getting a good creature or two, being able to, put a land on top of their deck, or some, not big non-creature thing that they play, like a Planeswalker or whatever. And then searching up our best creature is pretty good. Plus Gain 7 is not terrible, and it's just a really powerful card to utilize, having access to such good mana acceleration, which we do already have. Hoping to see a Genesis Wave or something cool like that. That would be pretty nice. Well, not a lot for us. Corsair Crewfix feels like the best pick here. Yawgmoth's Will's just an unbelievably powerful magic card. Pattern of Rebirth. We don't really have a good way to sacrifice our own creatures, but Pattern is really powerful. But I think we'll just go with Corsair and have a little tag team action of Oracle Modiah and Corsair of Crewfix. Standard powerhouse Corsair. Really just want to take Yawgmoth's Will, because it's Yawgmoth's Will. I don't want to play against it really after we gave somebody Frantic Search, but what are you going to do? Well, we got a little bit of mana fixing here with Hinterland Harbor and Windswept Teeth. Windswept Teeth, I think, is probably better, since it does give us access to both of our dual lands, and if we want to splash white, it'll help significantly. Terracodon is a great late game creature to either kill some of their stuff or just make 18 power. I think there's a reasonable chance that Terracodon actually laps, so we're going to take the Windswept Heath over it. And I know it's really weird. I like to draft Cube where I just want my mana to be insane and mostly perfect, and then after that is when I start trying to actually get things to win the game. Huh, I've never seen this card. Oh, that's really cool. I've never seen this card before. Card seems awesome. Ophiomancer. Well, Mole Drifter, I think, is the obvious pick for us. Wolfer Silverheart is a big dummy. Just is an 8/8 that makes another guy gigantic, but Mole Drifter is exactly what this kind of deck wants. Deranged Hermit came back. As you can see, we can always find ways to win the game. We just want to take the most powerful mana accelerators first, followed by card draw, followed by ways to actually kill our opponent. Unless, of course, there are times where you will get, something really crazy. Alright, well, since we have a lot of ways to splash white, I'm inclined to take Voice of Resurgence as a way to keep our opponent from interacting with us too much, and if it dies, it does generate an extra guy, which is nice. Green Sun Zenith is pretty awesome. I'm going to take that. Reason it's banned in Modern. Treetop Villager Repeal. That's actually a tough one. Treetop Village is fine. I'm not sure if it's exactly what our deck wants. I do like the fact that we have a couple of cheap mana artifacts that we can turn Repeal into just a cheap draw spell with like a Mox Pearl or something. Molten Tail Massacre. Big mana sink. Not in love with it, but it is what it is. Take a Wall Omens over Wall of Omens, Wall of Blossoms. How lucky. Not sure if we're going to play either. Might at least board them against really aggressive decks, since they are pretty good there. Well, we got another Mox. There's also a Mana Drain. Mana Drain's insane. There's a Time Vault, which if we end up getting the Voltaic Key or a Tezzeret, could just be a way to lock our opponent out of the game. It's a very powerful card, but it is incredibly narrow. So it makes me not very happy to take it here. Um, The Mox Ruby is obviously a powerful card. We have a lot of mana acceleration already, though. Kozilek doesn't seem that bad for our deck, though it will be not exactly easy to cast. We have a lot of mana acceleration, but getting to 10 is still difficult sometimes. I think we might be a little too green heavy to play Mana Drain, so I think I'm just going to gamble a little bit. This Mana Vault's obviously very good as well, but I think... Alright, I'm going to take Mana Vault over Time Vault. Maybe that's wrong. I actually think Mana Vault is better than Mox Ruby in our deck anyway. So, well, we got a Woodfall Primus. That's a good way to win the game. Breeding Pool, Compulsive Research, and a Moloku. Right now, we don't have a ton of great win conditions. I think taking the Woodfall Primus is actually pretty good, since we do have the Green Sun Zenith and a bunch of colorless mana acceleration. So I think I'll take Woodfall Primus, and yeah, pretty happy with that. Ranger Vios is actually interesting too, since it can go get the Draga Tree Speaker and Finhorn Elves, as well as any other mana dork we get. But since we have a lot of artifact mana acceleration too, I think I just want the Woodfall Primus, since we basically have two virtual copies with the Green Sun Zenith. Thrun is pretty great. I really love playing Reanimator in this cube, and it's always sad to see an Entomb in Pack 3. You really want to get into that type of archetype super early. But I think Thrun is a pretty good anti-control card. If people end up playing that against us, having access to this would be great, especially with Green Sun. Mana Leak is also okay. Pack Rat is Pack Rat. There's possibility that this card can just get unbelievably out of control in a hurry with fast mana, but hopefully we just don't play the guy with Pack Rat, or just doesn't draw it. Alright, well, got a Natural Order, which is great for Woodfall Primus. It's possible we could end up getting one more big green guy that we can either Green Sun Zenith or Natural Order into. Reclamation Sage is also great. I think that'll probably wheel, and then we can pick that up and go along with our Green Sun Zenith with it, which would be nice. But yeah, okay. Yawgmoth's Bargain is absurd. I mean, that's cube in a nutshell, though. Like, every card is usually pretty good. Eternal Witness is great. We're going to take that. Yeah, there's nothing else really in this pack that I would want. So... Crucible of Worlds, that'd be great if we ended up getting a Strip Mine, but we didn't. This pack, Life from the Loam, similarly, we don't have a lot of ways to abuse it. Yeah, the rest of this pack is pretty mediocre for us, so I think I'm going to hate draft something. I'm trying to figure out which card I would least like to play against. Thundermaw Hellkite can be a really fast clock. We don't really need to worry about Moat because we have Green Sun, Woodfall Primus, as well as Natural Order to get Woodfall Primus, and Primal Command to put on top of their deck if we go for an Alpha Strike. So, I guess I'll take Thundermaw Hellkite. Well, there's a Progenitus. I guess we'll play that, since we have the Natural Order. Song of the Dryads. Oh, that's kind of cool. Never seen that card either. Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy and those kind of cards that were printed and are in Cube now, and I haven't seen them yet, really. But I guess Progenitus is not so bad, since we have the Natural Order, and might have the Pipe Dream of Green Sun Zenith into it. Acidic Slime is going to be pretty great for our deck. We'll take that. Might actually have a good mana denial strategy with Acidic Slime and Primal Command, as well as Woodfall Primus with an early Natural Order or something. Llanowar Elves, I believe, is the pick. Just more mana acceleration. That's basically all we want. We have a lot of playables, though. This is actually going to be reasonably tough to build, I believe. The breeding pool, we have a lot of playables already, so I don't think I want to take the compulsive research. We don't have a ton in the way of card advantage, basically just Moldrifter and Jace, and I guess technically Oracle, Moldiah, and Courser, but I think I just want to take the land since we have access to so many playable cards already. Don't get me wrong though, compulsive research is insanely good, but don't think we need it. It's going to be a fun deck to play. I'm a little more green intensive than I would like in my deck, making my mana vault a little worse. Well, we're going to hate draft that pack rat because that card is just unreasonable. Massacre Worm is not great against us. We only have 3 real creatures that it kills, aside from Deranged Hermit. Wildfire might not be that great against us. So just take the Mutavault in case we don't really want to play against an aggro deck. So we'll just cut that. Spike Shot Elder could be good. Let's take Splinter Twin. Make sure no one combo kills us with Deceiver, Exarch, or Pestermite. Huh. Well, guess I'll take Desecration Demon. And Brain Freeze. Alright, well, we'll be back for deck building in 1 second. Alright, well, we have a lot of playables here. We have 6 lands and a Mox Pearl. So basically 7 mana sources already. So that means we have 28 spells if we were building this like a normal draft deck. Put the Repeal and the Green Sun Zenith over here. So with the Mana Vault, the Soul Ring, the Signet, and 3 mana Dorks, I think we can get away with around 15-ish lands. Gaea's Cradle doesn't really count as a land though, so I probably need to play 16, which means I'm probably going to cut this Wall of Omens, Molten Tail Massacre. Let's see, so 26, so I'll probably need to cut like 1 or 2 more cards. The Thron I think can be a good sideboard option. The Repeal also I guess could be a sideboard option. I think we can just get rid of that. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 24 spells and then 16-ish lands. Really 15 with the Cradle. But yeah, it's good enough I guess. The Voice Resurgence, Windbrisk Heights could be an ambitious splash, I guess. It's possible we should just cut all of the white lands and the Voice Resurgence, and but I think it's it's pretty good with Natural Order, especially against an aggressive deck. Voice, if our opponent tries to counter one of our things early, then Voice could be a real clock against them. So I think we're just good with this. We're just going to add some lands and get right to it. I don't think we actually need... We have a Mox Pearl, 2 dual lands, and a Windswept Heath, so I don't think we actually need a basic Plains. So... wants us to play a Swamp. Oh, because of the Progenitus. That makes sense. You're funny, Magic Online. Alright, so 3 islands gives us a Windswept Heath can get the Hallowed Fountain, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue sources. It's probably not enough. Let's see how many green sources we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 5 is 9, and then the Simic Signet. Maybe 9, 7 is actually 1, 9, 6, 9, 7 with the Signet. Maybe that's good enough. Maybe I don't really want to play the Windbrisk Heights, but I think it could be sweet in our deck since we have a couple of small mana creatures and the Deranged Hermit, and some big stuff to do on the top end with it. I'm not in love with that, but it is what it is. So yeah, so we have 5 forests. This is only 8, so we can actually add 6, 7, 8. I think we actually should add a forest. So that'll give us 9 lands that tap for green mana, not counting Gaea's Cradle. And then the Hallowed Fountain, the Breeding Pool, the Windswept Teeth, 3 islands, and a Signet. I guess that's enough. It feels like it should be enough for the 4 blue cards we have, not counting Progenitus, obviously. Usually, you know, the Sylvan Library, the Wild Blossoms, the Corsair, and the Oracle can help dig for the colors we need. I could potentially play 1 plane since I do have the search for tomorrow to go get it, but since the White Splash is so light, I don't think I want that. So we'll just play 3 islands and some forests and be a 9/6 green-blue. Alright, well, that is the cube deck that I have drafted. And hopefully it should be a lot of fun. We did get some very powerful mana acceleration and some big stuff to do on the top end. Let's see what happens.